With prices skyrocketing and uncertainty around every corner, it's essential to stockpile the right items to ensure your family's safety and well-being. In this video, we'll reveal the top 25 essential items you need to stockpile right now before prices explode.
He's the man knows what you need. Water, food, security, greed. No surprise when storms expand. Local prepper is the man.
From food and water to first aid and self-defense, we're going to cover it all. Don't wait until it's too late now. Get ready to take control of your future and protect the ones that you love. Now, tariffs can drive up costs for imported goods or materials, impacting everyday items that preppers might prioritize for stockpiling due to their utility, shelf life, or reliance on global supply chains. Here, we're going to cover a list of 25 items likely affected by tariffs, tailored to what preppers might want to stock up on for self-sufficiency during economic disruptions or supply shortages. Each item is either imported, uses imported components, or depends on globally sourced materials, making them vulnerable to price increases. With all that said, let's get into it. First on our list, canned goods, vegetables, fruits, soups. Many canned foods rely on imported steel or aluminum for cans, and some products like tropical fruits are sourced internationally. Preppers value these for their long shelf life and nutritional reliability in emergencies. Now, tariffs on metals could make bulk items more expensive, so stocking up early is very wise. The next thing we'll talk about is something that people are asking about: rice, a staple food often imported from countries like Thailand or India. Preppers stockpile rice for its caloric density and ability to store for decades when sealed properly. Tariffs on agricultural imports could raise costs, and rice's versatility makes it a priority for food security. Moving along, pasta, frequently made from durum wheat imported from Canada or Europe. It's a prepper favorite for its affordability and long shelf life in dry storage. Now, tariffs on wheat or packaging materials could increase prices, pushing preppers to buy in bulk now. Okay, coffee, largely imported from countries like Brazil, Colombia, or Ethiopia. Preppers stock it for morale and as barter items during crisis. Tariffs on coffee beans could spike costs, and its long shelf life, when vacuum sealed and freeze dried, make it a smart investment. Coming onto the list, tea, often sourced from China, India, or Sri Lanka. Like coffee, it's valued for comfort and trade potential in times when tariffs on tea imports could affect pricing, and preppers might store it in airtight containers to preserve the flavor. And let's see, what else could we talk about? Sugar. Well, some in domestic tariffs on imported sugar from places like Mexico could raise prices. You know, preppers store it for cooking, preservation, and energy needs as well. It's indefinite shelf life make it a must-have, but global trade disruptions could limit availability. And then there's always the magical super prepper freeze-dried foods. Preppers mainly rely on imported packaging of the ingredients, and brands like Mountain House use global supply chains. Preppers prioritize these for lightweight, long-term food storage. Tariffs on that plastic or international shipping could increase costs, so buying now is very strategically smart. Next on our list is batteries, often manufactured in China or rely on imported lithium and cobalt. They're essential for powering flashlights, radios, and other prepper gear. Tariffs on electronics could make them pricier, and preppers should store them in a cool, dry conditions. Well, what should we talk about next? Let's talk about, believe it or not, stupid little flashlights. Many are made in China or use imported electronics. Preppers need to they need a reliable lighting for power outages or off-grid scenarios. Tariffs on manufactured goods could raise those costs, and investing in a durable LED model is a prepper's best bet. And of course, we can't forget first aid supplies, i.e., like bandages and antiseptics, often produced overseas, or they use imported plastics and even chemicals. They're critical for treating injuries when medical help isn't available. Now, tariffs on medical imports could limit affordability, so preppers should build comprehensive kits right now. Refuge Medical, shameless promotion. Over-the-counter medications, link in description, e.g. ibuprofen, antihistamines. The active ingredients are frequently sourced from China or India, and preppers stock these to manage pain or illness independently, because we don't need a doctor for everything. Now, tariffs on pharmaceuticals could drive those prices up, and rotating that stock ensures freshness. Of course, we can't forget about vitamins and supplements. They mainly rely on imported ingredients or packaging materials. Now, preppers use them to maintain nutrition during food shortages, and tariffs on chemicals or plastics could affect those costs, making bulk purchases a practical choice. Buy the big bottles. I'm telling you, you'll thank me later. Let's not forget about toothpaste. Toothpaste contains imported chemicals like fluoride compounds. Dental hygiene is crucial for preppers to avoid health issues long term. Tariffs on raw materials could increase prices, and storing extra tubes is a in a cool place is kind of recommended. And then there's soap and detergent. Often made with imported palm oil or chemicals. Hygiene prevents disease, a key concern for preppers in survival scenarios. And tariffs on oils or packagings could raise costs. So stocking up on, a bar of soap is kind of a budget-friendly move. Go to the $1.25 tree, buy up all the Irish Spring. Then there's clothing, things like socks or jackets or just pretty much anything that you wear on your body. Much of it is manufactured in countries like Bangladesh or even Vietnam. And preppers need durable clothing for harsh weather or labor-intensive tasks. Tariffs on textiles could make quality gear pricier, so buying rugged items now instead of later is probably the smart thing to do. Let's not forget about boots. Let's not forget about boots. They're often produced overseas or use imported leather and rubber. Sturdy footwear is essential for mobility and work in a crisis. Tariffs on raw materials could increase costs, and preppers should choose waterproof, long-lasting footwear because it's just super smart to protect your feet. Let's see what else. Knives and multi-tools. Many affordable options are made in China or use imported steel. Preppers rely on them for cutting, building, and even defense. Tariffs on steel or tools could affect pricing, so investing in high quality blades is kind of a worthwhile thing right now. Another thing to think about could be camping gear, e.g., tents and sleeping bags, typically manufactured in Asia or use imported fabrics and materials. Preppers use these for shelter and warmth in emergencies. Tariffs on synthetics could raise the cost, and checking gear for durability is kind of key. It's kind of key. Now, I'm not really a fisherman, but you know what? In the survival world, fishing, having the ability to fish is pretty smart. So fishing supplies, things like lines and hooks, often imported or made with global materials. Fishing is a vital prepper skill for sustainable food sourcing. Tariffs on plastics or metals could impact those prices. So stocking up on a variety of tackle is kind of prudent and very inexpensive right now. So just go do it. Moving into more expensive stuff, water filters, guys. Brands like Sawyer or Berkey, often rely on imported plastics or filtration media. Clean water is a top priority for preppers in any crisis. Tariffs on components could increase costs, and portable filters are ideal for mobility. And then some of the dumb stuff like plastic storage containers, they're mated with imported petroleum-based products. Preppers use them to protect food and gear from moisture and pests. Tariffs on oil derivatives could raise prices, so choosing airtight stackable bins is kind of efficient. Kind of a survivalist thing here. Paracord, frequently manufactured in China or uses imported nylon. Its versatility makes it a prepper's staple for shelters or repairs. Now, tariffs on synthetics could affect affordability, and storing it in organized coils prevents that stuff from tangling. God knows we've all been through that crazy nylon knot before. Matches and lighters. Many are imported for basically from foreign sourced chemicals. Now, fire starting is critical for cooking, warmth, and signaling in a survival situation. The tariffs on chemicals could increase costs, and waterproof matches are a prepper's favorite. So, one is none, two is one. Get yourself some lighters or sparklers, whatever you want. Just get them now. Long term. Now we start to think long term, and the market will reflect. So, something to think about is seeds for planting. We want to have that perpetual growth system working. Some heirloom or specialty seeds are imported, and packaging may use global materials. Preppers stock seeds for long-term food production and self-reliance. Tariffs on agricultural goods could raise prices, so choosing non-GMO seeds is ideal. Manual can opener, they're often made in China or use imported steel. They're essential for accessing canned food without electricity. Tariffs on metal goods could make them pricier, and sturdy hand crank models are prepper's best choice. Now, reasons behind this list. Tariffs often target raw materials like steel, aluminum, or petroleum, as well as finished goods from countries like China or Mexico, increasing costs for items with global supply chains attached to them. Now, preppers focus on non-perishable foods, medical supplies, and durable tools that support survival needs. Food, water, shelter, health, and security, obviously. I mean, these items were chosen for their tariff sensitivity and alignment with prepper priorities. So this is the strategy. Stockpiling strategy is very simple. Preppers should always buy these items before tariffs increase prices or disrupt imports, focusing on bulk deals and domestic alternatives whenever possible. Learning skills like gardening or sewing can further reduce the reliance on these tariff effective goods. Items like this will have barter value. Items like coffee, soap, and batteries are often cited in prepper communities as high value trade goods during a crisis. Now, with all that said, hopefully you guys have taken this to heart. Hopefully you got something out of this video. I'll leave a list in the description for you to copy and paste and take off to the store so you can get yourself all prepped up. Um, as usual, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up on the way out the door and stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Bye-bye.
When Central Power